Welcome to the Pet Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Scarlett Rockwood. As a content marketer for pet professionals, I love talking with other marketers and business owners in the pet industry and sharing their marketing advice with you. So join me for the latest episode and learn how to grow your audience, increase your revenue, and impact the lives of pets and their people. Kati Keyes has been in pet industry sales and marketing for over 10 years now. She's worked with thousands of pet businesses and leverages her degree in psychology to identify costly mistakes and build a clear strategy roadmap to success. She's joining me today to talk about what a brand strategy is and why it's important. Kati, thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and, what has got you on this journey to where you are the greatest person to talk to right now about brand strategy for pet businesses.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I never know if I should ever start with the very, very beginning, which is, when I was little and I had obsession with Animal Planet. I'd watch that more than the Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, and learned how to train my dog from that, learned lots of things about animals, and I have always been, wanted to be engrossed in it. So I knew from a very early age I wanted to be a dog trainer, and so I went to school actually for psychology just to have a bachelor's degree. And then by the time I obtained that, I just looked for a job for a moment and landed backwards into pet expos. So that's the other part where I sometimes start with. So I really got into the pet industry where I am now with the pet expos. I started out as, in sales, doing account management, talking to exhibitors about renewing their booths, about getting a booth. And it really evolved over the time that I was there from, just selling a booth to helping exhibitors with their booth setup, with the out of their expo, making sure that they're doing the right things year round so they can come back again the following year. And I really got to know a lot of pet businesses and how passionate and how much they're pet owners first. We do this, so many of us in this industry do it for the pets. We just love the animals. Of course, the money's great too, but, and at the end of the day, these are animals, and, the people that have pet businesses are very excited about what they have. They're passionate about what they do. And I learned that, like I said, so many pet business owners are pet lovers first. They never knew they were going to be a pet business owner, or they're not sure what to do, or they're having some success and they just don't know how to take it to that next level. So at my time, backing up a little bit, at the pet expos, we did over 150 expos. We were a brand new startup when I first started. I actually think we might have done closer to 200. I talked with thousands of pet businesses, big and small, all looking to attract more pet owners. So I learned what works, what doesn't work. And I did that for many years. I went from, just a sales associate, account manager, to director of sales, president. So that's how I got into it. I had a lot of exhibitors that were like, can I just hire you? So from there, that's where Max Pet was born. I started doing it a little bit more. And even then, I struggled a little bit because people were telling me, yeah, you're a brand strategist. And I'm like, I don't even really know what that is. I just do what I do. I don't know how to package it up. Now we do brand evaluations. We go through your brand inside and out, tell you, pinpoint your strengths and your weaknesses, based on my experience in the pet industry and my knowledge from psychology. I have this unique ability to pinpoint where the opportunities are.
That's awesome. So it gave you kind of a really quick crash course in what so many different pet brands look like and what they all struggle with when it comes to marketing, because you dealt with dozens or if not hundreds for every single one of those expos, right?
Yeah, oh, it was every single expo had about 100 to, I almost broke 300 in one expo. So yeah, I mean, when I say thousands, I mean those were just the exhibitors. That's not the people who called in and, you know, still shared with me their stories about where they are in their business and why they couldn't get a booth. You know, and I would still tell them and give them advice. So hopefully, you know, they would grow. Whether or not they came back to the expo, you know, that would be great. But it was all about the passion and the bigger difference we were making in the pet industry.
Yeah, that's amazing. So when we talk about brand strategy, what is included? Like if I were to build my own brand strategy, what is the mental checklist I should go through and what has to be included in that?
Sure. So one thing I like to start with is not, you know, when I get asked what's a brand strategy, I first need to discuss what a brand is. And before that, we even really need to know what a brand isn't, because most people get what a brand is wrong. You know, we see when we think of a brand, we tend to think of their logo, their colors, their, you know, their mission. Those actually all stand for something. It creates a feeling in us. Your brand really is how you make people feel. How those colors make people feel. It's how your logo makes people feel. It's how they feel when they send you an email or when they open the box of product or when you come to train their dog. It's how you make them feel. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, an amazing dog trainer if you can't relate to the pet owner in a way that they resonate with you and enjoy the experience. You know, and that's really what your brand is all about. It's who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. And it's that story that you get to tell in so many different ways through your logo. If you're a high excitement type brand, your logo will be bright, fun colors. Your color scheme will be bright and fun, and you can do fun reels, and you can, you know, Scarlett will have all sorts of ideas for you for your social media marketing, and that goes true for any of those, you know, specific brand personalities. It really depends on who you are and the message that you're trying to get across.
Right. So, I mean, my brand itself is going to include, right, we talked about it's not just the logos and the colors, but it's also how you make people feel. So we're talking about like a personality that describes your brand. Maybe the way that you talk to people would be included. The way that you, you know, words that you use, words that you stay away from is something that you might want to include in a brand strategy. Who you're talking to, your customer avatar, are all things that are very important for a brand strategy. And the purpose, what exactly is the purpose of a brand strategy? Like, why do we need one?
So a brand strategy is the difference between having, you know, customers that are just price shopping and customers that are to your brand, that want to be there, that want to support you, your mission, who you are, and it's the difference of having those raving fans that can't wait to tell about you. It's that you know, Kayla from Docs Design likes to call it the wow factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you're thinking about a brand strategy, to me, I feel like your brand is who you are and your strategy is how you get people to see you the way that you want people to see you and how you make people feel the way you want them to feel about your brand.
Yeah, exactly. I always struggle with, and that's something I should work on, is how to, because I never want to say, like, I never want people to feel like, oh, this is our, like, we're going to make people feel this way, and this is our slimy tactic on how we're going to make that happen. No, it's just defining who you are and then making sure that everything in your brand that.
Yeah, everything in your brand needs to reflect that. Because, like, if your brand is quirky and playful and fun, and it's, you know, a dog daycare where it feels like you're taking your dog to a play group, preschool kind of thing, where they're going to get a lot of energy out and play with a lot of friends. That's going to come across in, like, if I picture a brand like that in my mind, I picture a logo and colors that are like almost like primary colors, like the Crayola brand, is something that I would kind of expect there. And then how you talk about the dogs and how you talk about your brand and what you do with them needs to be from a perspective of someone who is fun and happy and upbeat and energetic. Whereas if you have a brand that's more like a dog day spa, even though it's still, a place for you to take your dog while you're at work or on vacation, it's a whole different ballgame in terms of what your logo should look like, what colors you should use, how you should talk. You should be more luxurious and customer service more so than trying to be their best friend, if that makes any sense.
It's not just so that we can be consistent, it also gives us inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. This is so important as a content creator, content marketer. That's the biggest thing that I do on my side of things. Like, having a good brand strategy in place puts you miles ahead of just having to come up with something on the spot every day. Like, your brand strategy is basically a guide to the messages you want to get across and how to talk to people, so that when you start creating content, whether it's email, social media, your website, you have a guide in place for how that content needs to look, sound, and feel.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think that's a part of, things that people just tend to, a lot of business owners tend to think like, well, I know who I am. I kind of have an idea, but when you really sit down to define it, it really starts turning those gears and sparking those ideas to, how can I take this to the next level and resonate more with my clients and my customers.
So if you could make sure every single brand knew like the bare minimum that they need to know about brand strategy, what are the key things that you think everyone just has to know?
Oh, that's a tough question. That's a really good question. Okay, so what are the top things that everybody needs to know? I would say your brand doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't. I think I get that a lot, is where, I know I need to do all these things. I don't know exactly who my target audience is. I don't know, so they hold back doing things. Don't let not knowing exactly who your target audience is, don't let not knowing, exactly what your mission or exactly who you are stop you from getting started. You'll figure it out as you go. I was just talking to, a business owner who mentioned that, she thought that her target audience was one thing, but then she realized that her people, started to swing a different direction. Brand can and should evolve. It's something that isn't going to be perfect and shouldn't be perfect right off the bat. It's not possible. So don't wait until it's perfect to get started and to get going. Yeah, I know a lot of people get worried, like, maybe isn't just right, and give yourself permission to go after it. Be yourself, because that's exactly what's going to attract who your target audience is, and you'll learn exactly what you need to do as you go, and just keep going, keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a very big believer in done is better than perfect, and your brand can always evolve over time, right?
Yes, exactly. I had a client recently who I hope she probably wouldn't mind me saying who she is, but I will just kind of tell you she is a photographer who is not in the pet industry. She was referred to me by somebody who is a photographer that is in the pet industry, but she does amazing photography for kids. Like, they look like they could be magazine. I was shocked when she told me that she doesn't really have any business. She does great with her headshots and her a couple other things that she does, but when it comes to this specific niche, this was where she was passionate about, and she just was struggling. A big part was because she was thinking she needed to be much more luxurious, when really she was much more of the fun and exciting brand. And that's who she's going to reach. She was very afraid of doing anything because she was afraid that those luxury people would see that she, you know, think of her as poor, or, you know, she was worried, you know, about putting herself out there because, you know, she wanted to resonate with those people, and really it wasn't her target audience. So I'm excited to see, you know, we just did a brand evaluation for her, so I'm really excited to see where she takes it, because I think she's gonna go really far once she gets that brand strategy nailed down and she lets herself be herself.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen this client as well, and I'm really excited about where she's going to go with what you gave her. So you touched on another key point as well. Why we actually care about all this is actually getting clients, actually converting them, and that's a big part of your brand strategy as well. We're talking about, like, it's knowing how to talk to people. It's knowing how to get a personality across in your emails and your social media. But at the end of the day, the whole reason for that is to get your clients, to get your sales. So really, to boil it down even further, your brand strategy is how you deliver your brand's unique offer to your audience in a way that converts them into clients and customers.
Yes, exactly.
So now that we've talked about the key things every brand should know, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people making?
Ooh, so let's see, the biggest mistakes. Holding back, I'd say that's one thing that I really see in almost every brand evaluation is the brand is there, but they're not really pushing it out there as much as it's not crystal clear in every experience on social media, on their website. You know, so that's one big mistake. Another big mistake is thinking that every pet owner is their target audience, or every pet owner within the city. You know, if you try to, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but if you try to talk to everyone, you end up talking to no one, because no one understands that you're talking to them. It's too broad. It doesn't resonate with them. So when you start talking specifically to the people who, and here's the thing too, you cannot afford to reach. You're not going to, and if you do, you're not going to be able to reach them enough times to get them to know, like, and trust you. Might as well narrow it down to the people who are most likely to purchase.
Yeah, absolutely. And that touches on what I think we both consider kind of the first step to any strategy, which is doing your research. Because that's kind of the next question that pops up there. Well, how do I know who I'm talking to or who the right people are?
Yes. So looking at your competitors is definitely, you can learn more about it, about what people like, about what, you know, what is going on, and get inspiration on what you can be doing too. It's not to say like you want to copy them, obviously. You know, what's going on so you know what you're up against.
Yeah, absolutely. So Katie, tell us a little bit more about where we can find you if our listeners want to get more information or chat with you about their own brand and getting help with it.
Sure, I would love that. You can find me at maxpetmarketing.com. I'm also on Instagram, on Facebook. You know, my handle is maxpetmarketing. You can email me, Katie with an I, Kati, at maxpetmarketing.com. We'll chat a little bit, and then if it seems to be a good fit, then we'll schedule a free strategy call. You'll walk away with actionable items that you can, you know, implement right away. Regardless if you move forward with my services. So definitely, if you're interested, even are thinking about it or not sure, shoot us a message and we'll talk and see if it is a good fit.
Awesome. And then you've also got a really great brand strategy checklist to share with everyone as well, right?
Yes, good point. So I have a brand strategy checklist. It's kind of the questions that you need to be asking and be able to answer in order to build your strategy. So there's about 11, 12 questions on there about who you are, who your target audience is, what you do, what your position in the market is, questions for you to answer, and that we need to know a very solid answer on in order for you to build a strong, solid strategy.
Awesome. Amazing. I'm so excited to share that with everyone, because that is just a really quick and dirty way to get a good picture of, where you need to go next when you're creating your brand strategy, and maybe even fill out that checklist. And then if you're not sure where to go from there, let Katie take a look at it and give you some suggestions, and see if there's maybe something that she can help you with there as well. So I will make sure that all of the contact information for Katie, as well as a way to get that checklist, is in the show notes for you. So make sure that you check those out. Don't forget to be awesome, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Scarlett.
What was your favorite thing about this episode? Hit me up on Instagram at Scarlett Rockwood to tell me about it, or ask any questions that you have about marketing your own pet business. If you know other pet professionals who would love this podcast, go ahead and screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram stories. Be sure to tag me when you do, because seeing who's listening and hearing your feedback is 100% what motivates me to keep doing what I do. You can also join the Content Marketing for Pet Professionals Facebook group to connect with other pet industry professionals like you. If you'd like to follow up on any of the resources or links mentioned in this episode, you can find them in the show notes. Don't forget to be awesome, and I'll see you in the next episode.